Today would have been Bruce Lee's 85th birthday. Hey, it's also Thanksgiving. One of the things I'm thankful for as a Bruce Lee fan is we have so much of his stuff to enjoy from his short 32-year life. Now, back in 2014, I somehow came across an ad or something. I have no memory of how I came across this, but there was a very small press publishing company or what have you that was putting out this Bruce Lee review magazine of sorts. I mean, it's tiny, right? And they were at issue 6, and it said, "Would you like to buy this?" And I said, ooh, Bruce Lee's Lost Blondie script? Yeah. Because if you know anything about Bruce Lee, if you know a lot about Bruce Lee, you'll know that the episode that he was on of Blondie, the television series, is the only missing TV show or movie that he was ever a part of that has not come to light. And I mean, yes, he was on television a lot, but those were television shows where he would show up and be interviewed and do some martial arts demonstrations, and all of those are gone. But this was an actual, scripted television show. And so I got this, and for the next couple of years, they came out with more of these issues of the Bruce Lee Review, and I didn't get them. And then they had one that looked really cool, and I was too late to get it. It was disappointing. But then earlier this year, they messaged me and said, "We're going to put all of them together in a big book and print it if you want one. You have to say yes and you have to prepay, and we will print one for you. We're going to print one for each person that wants it." And so there's probably less than 100 of us, I'm going to guess. Not that Bruce Lee didn't have a lot of fans, but this is a very small press thing. Not very many of these things exist. And I did get the book, and it came in. And here it is, the cream of the Bruce Lee Review. Limited run, the definitive collection. Look at how thick this is. I don't know how many of these they made. This is really heavy. But if you've watched the videos in this playlist, you'll see in the first video, at the end of that video, I have a slideshow kind of thing playing over one of my old podcasts where I show pretty much most of the stuff in my Bruce Lee collection at that time. I've gotten a lot more stuff. I haven't shown them in a video yet, but this is another one of the newer things, and we can take a look inside here. I haven't actually looked in here yet, and I've had this for a few months. Okay, so we have an intro to what all of this Bruce Lee review stuff is. That's cool. Looking forward to reading all this. Hey, look, a Bob Wall signed DVD. This is one of those Hong Kong release DVDs that I had. Oh yeah, and I had these types of DVDs. I had everything. VHS, DVD, Blu-rays. Got it all. Okay, cool. So you're going to have a lot of interviews in here, exclusive interviews, reviews. This is great. We're only a few pages in. So here we are, Bruce Lee on TV. This is talking about the episode of Blondie and how it is possibly lost. I have heard over the years a little bit here and there of people that may have it. Let's hope it sees the light one day. Not that it's going to be anything phenomenal. It may even absolutely suck, but the fact that it's missing, it kills all of us fans that it's missing. Ooh, documentaries. Yeah, I've got all these documentaries too. Okay, and now we get into books, printed matter and stuff, and I have a ton of printed matter. I have that book. Oh, that's cool looking. Very 70s. Love it. More interviews. This is great. Leo Fong, one of his students. Peter Lee, his brother. This is cool. All these old photos of him training his students in that parking garage. Love it. His sister, his other brother. This is awesome. Could you imagine being so impactful to the world, to the human race, that in just a few short years, you basically become immortal? Immortal in our culture. How many people fit into that category? So few. The missing big boss scene, look, the axe in the head. It's great. It'll be interesting to see, with the new breakthroughs in AI, for them to take all of the photos and still shots and scripts and storyboards and surviving material from deleted scenes, cut scenes, missing stuff from Bruce Lee films, lots of other stuff, Doctor Who, anything that has missing stuff. The Highlander had all kinds of cool extra fight scenes with the Kurgan and other Highlanders, or Immortals, I should say, and stuff. That there's lots of photographs from the scenes and things, but the footage is all gone. There's a lot of footage that is just gone. London After Midnight, all kinds of stuff, and have AI kind of recreate these scenes. I would love for them to use, look at these, isn't that cool? I would love to, I have this signed by Neil Adams, the cover painter. This is great. I would love to see them use AI to clean up and fully restore and add music to those deleted Big Starklighter scenes from Star Wars. I'm waiting for someone to do that. Speaking of which, the rumor coming out now, kind of a valid and substantiated rumor from really great sources, is the original 1977 version of, check it out, another deleted scene, of Star Wars is being restored to 4K and going to be released on the 50th anniversary in 2027. And I've seen lots of screenshots, bits of footage from it, and it's the real deal. Going to be exciting. In fact, I'm planning a trip to Tunisia in 2027 for the 50th anniversary. Going to tour all of the original filming locations, and the ones for Raiders of the Lost Ark are there as well. Speaking of little trips, while we flip through this, in a few weeks I will be going to the actual Brady Bunch house. Can you believe it? The Brady Bunch house. The one that was used for exterior shots, and then HGTV bought it, and they got the 6 original actors that played the kids together, and they made a whole season of shows where they gutted the house and rebuilt it from scratch from the inside out. Oh, look, video games. To perfectly match all of the sets that they used to film the interior of the show on, and they got all of these authentic props and paintings and everything. Well, it was then sold to a private owner, and she had a one weekend where you could fly out and have a personal tour of the place. And I was going to get it, and by the time I got home from work, every single spot was sold out. She made I think she said $130,000 just for that one weekend. And it was such a success that once she had that 3-day weekend showing, she said, "This was so great, I'm going to do it again." And by the end of the day, they posted a link, and I went ahead and snagged mine right then. I snagged my spot, and I bought my plane tickets, my hotel, and the whole 9 yards. So I will be going to Hollywood in a few weeks, and I've got a couple of things I'm going to do there in Hollywood, and one of them is the Brady Bunch house. Then as soon as I come back from that, it'll be Christmas, and I'm going to Disney Springs with my daughter and my mom. And then the day after that, I'm going to a Phil Collins tribute concert. How awesome is that? Phil Collins, my favorite singer-songwriter musician of all time. It's going to be a very cool tribute concert. Love it. And then in April, I'm planning a week-long trip with my daughter to England. We're going to do the double-decker Magical Mystery Bus tour of Liverpool. It's going to end at the Cavern Club, where the Beatles got their start, just in time for a Beatles tribute band show. And then the next day, we're heading to Sherwood Forest, where we're going to get the Robin Hood tour. And then we're going to have a private archery class, where we're going to be doing archery in Sherwood Forest. Then we're heading off to London. We're going to do lots of stuff there, Stonehenge and what have you. And then we're going to the actual King Arthur Castle and Merlin's Cave and stuff like that out there. It's going to be fantastic. Then a few months after that, we're going to have the, hey, look, it's from the issue I have. Remember the Galaxy Gang reunion I had a few months back? My group of personal friends, my little tight circle of friends, all got back together after so many years. We were a tight group in the early 90s, and we just had our big reunion. Well, we're going to do an annual out-of-town adventure, and I started planning the one for next year. Planning on Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, and I got all kinds of ideas for things for us to do, and there's a couple specific reasons why I picked Myrtle Beach, and those will all come up in the future when I make my mini movie about our adventure. Anyways, I've talked a lot about non-Bruce Lee stuff here as we look at the Bruce Lee book. I'm basically just talking about myself and the things that I do and I'm going to do and what have you. Double-sized disco edition. Love it. Of course, Bruce died before disco existed. But we think of him as a 70s figure. You know, he died in 1973, but the 70s were so Bruce Lee infused and Bruce Lee knockoff stuff that, you know, kind of the, oh look, Statue of Hercules. I love his office there at Golden Harvest Studios with the giant picture of the tiger behind him. That later on was Jackie Chan's office. So what was I saying? Oh yeah, like the 70s, all that disco and the bell bottoms and the glasses, the giant glasses and all that stuff. A very 70s feel for Bruce Lee, even though it wasn't him. It was like these knockoff guys and all their films in the 70s. And Bruce Lee was such a part of the culture. And karate was such a huge thing in the 70s. And I grew up thinking of Bruce Lee as a 70s character, you know, it's a human being. And then once the 80s hit, man, 1982, everything. Oh, I went to his house there when I went to Hong Kong. You can see it in my video tour of Hong Kong earlier in this playlist. Yeah, well, in 82, everything became ninjas. Ninjas, it was the greatest thing ever. But by the end of the decade, they had taken another really awesome thing, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and made it for little kids and little babies, and now that's kind of all you think of with ninjas. And then the 90s started with the UFC, which was awesome in concept, you know, kind of coming from the idea out of Philip Ree's mind and Best of the Best too, but then quickly became boring with Hoist Gracie just laying on people for 30 minutes at a time. And now everything is Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and has been for 35 years, and I'm not finding the fun with modern martial arts as I did growing up with Bruce Lee and then ninjas. Man, I remember those early video stores in the early 80s, you know, the mom and pop places, long before they created Blockbuster. And every Friday we would go and we'd get some videotapes. And I always had to pick out anything that said Bruce Lee or ninjas on the cover. And then we would get it, Disney's Robin Hood, like a million times in a row. It's crazy. And then we would order Pizza Hut. And that's back when they didn't cut the pizzas because they said, oh, it'll lose its heat by the time it arrives to your house. So they left it uncut. But they would have a red plastic pizza cutter in a plastic bag taped to the top of the box, which we didn't use. We had our own metal pizza cutters, and we would cut our pizza. And we would eat, and I would eat my slices of pizza on my ET TV tray, and we would watch all these awesome videotapes of martial arts madness. So great. Well, we're coming to the end of this very thick book, and one day I'm going to get around to reading this. This was that 4K box set that came out a couple years ago. Last year, 2 years ago, whatever it was, that had all of like the missing scenes and stuff from The Big Boss, lots of other stuff that no one even knew had existed for 50 years. And there it was. So great. Let's make a Game of Death prequel. That'd be cool. So anyways, happy birthday, Bruce Lee. Wish you were still here with us. And wish we could have had 53 more years of your productivity. But I'm glad we got what we got, and I'll see you guys around.